Hello. This week what we're going to be looking at is the dodge and burn tools. Specifically, we're going to be looking at them in Affinity Photo because that's the photo editor that I happen to use. And while we're looking at these for a landscape perspective, we really could use them in portraits or fashion or product photography, but this is a landscape photography channel, so we're going to be doing landscape photography kind of stuff. Particularly what we're going to look at is using dodging and burning to enhance a photo of a rock formation, which recently has somewhat dominated my Instagram feed, if we're being honest. Why don't we just go ahead and head over to the computer and take a look at what we got. Okay, now we're at the computer, and I have gone ahead and opened up a file with a interesting rock formation, and I've already done some pre-processing on it, so let's go take a look. We have our image here, and as you can see, it's relatively flat. In fact, a lot of the interesting context and contours need to be brought out, and I've already done a little bit of a contrast adjustment. I've put like an S-curve on it, sort of thing, done my basic develop pass. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and merge all the visible layers. Now, there are multiple ways to do this, and this is just the way I prefer to do it, so salt and pepper to taste. So let's go ahead and change that to an apt title because we're going to be dodging and burning. And then we go over here and we're going to grab our dodge tool. Now, the dodge tool is going to brighten. So where we're looking to add a little bit of dodging is right around the edges where we naturally see light. We want to emphasize the interesting structures, and we want to basically create a lot more local contrast between the pocketed areas and their edges. So we're going to do something like that, right? And again, I'm not going to go through the entire thing here. But you just kind of lighten up around, maybe go in with a slightly smaller brush here, right? Just around where those shadows are. And then we're going to go back and select our burn tool. And so you want to make sure that your hardness is at 0 when you do this, just because otherwise it can start looking a little splotchy. So then we're going to take in our burn tool and just burn right where these pockets are, right? So just burn inside the pockets. It's not, spend as much or as little time as you need. Don't rush it, but at the same time, you probably don't need to spend an hour getting it pixel perfect. So if we take it off, see, and it's bland, it's flat, and then when we add this in, it really makes those interesting areas pop. And of course, we have to do this for the entire image, which unfortunately would take quite a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, through movie magic, switch over to the finished image now. Here we are with our finished dodging and burning. I've also, as you can see, added an additional brightness and contrast adjustment. We'll deal with that in a second, but let's take a look at what it looks like without the dodge and burn, and then with the dodge and burn. You can see that we've added a lot of texture, a lot more contrast, but specifically contrast where we wanted it. So we've really deepened a lot of the shadows and really given it a better sense of depth. Now, another thing that I will suggest is sometimes you're going to lay it on a little bit thick. And that's just because very subtle changes are very hard to perceive. So what I do is I change the opacity of the layer. So for this particular one, right, we could do it very minimal, only 25. For this particular one, I'm more around the 75 range, right? So again, before, after, right? I think the 75 gets a good mix between realistic, but also adding in that extra contrast that we want. And of course, I felt that there was a little bit more adjustment that was needed. So what we did is we added on this extra contrast here. And as you can see, that just kind of makes our dodging and burning pop a whole lot more. And I think gives a better overall impression for this particular piece. Okay, so that's dodging and burning in Affinity Photo, and obviously one of the places that I suggest practicing is with photos like this, particularly because they're relatively forgiving, but it's a place where dodging and burning can add a lot of value. And of course, in more wide open vistas, you still want to potentially dodge and burn, but this is a good playground to work with because it's quite forgiving. Okay, so that's it. If you have any tips or tricks about dodging and burning, or, you know, want to critique my tips and tricks, please leave a comment below. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe if you're not already. And if you are subscribed or just subscribed, make sure you hit that bell so that you get notified when we have videos. And I'll see you next week.